Hello, I'm Malcolm Haslett.
And I'm Janice Baker.
I've got a question. Have you ever washed your face in orange juice?
What? No. No, I haven't. But I've heard of a theatre bug.
It gets better and better. Next, on Our Time. I don't know, the stain's there from something.
What?
Washing your face in orange juice.
Sure, it wasn't orange juice. I can't remember, though.
We should really go to the source, not orange, but source, as we introduce Peter Combe and his lovely daughter, Joni Combe. Welcome.
Hello.
Hello.
Nice to have you with us, and it's great to have. You're the first father and daughter we've ever had.
Yes, that's
there you
true.
go.
I've just realised that in 339
Something
episodes, you're the
I was
first.
339 years.
We're not that old.
So we need to talk to both of you because you've both had careers in show business and you've both had a huge influence on the youth, both here in South Australia and in fact right around the world for you. So let's talk to you, Peter, first about how did you become the instrumentalist writing songs for kids?
Well, my background is teaching. I taught up to the end of 1982, and I always wanted to be a full-time singer-songwriter. To be honest, I wanted to be the world's next Paul Simon. That was my real aim. But I discovered that about a million other people also want to be the world's next Paul Simon. In the end, there's only one Paul Simon.
True. There's only one Peter Combe.
That's
true.
That's
You used to wear round glasses then.
I did. Used to wear my John Lennon glasses.
Yes.
So I
just
gave up.
remember that looking at your face.
I gave up teaching at the end of '82. And it was a strategic move because I was actually my British television show, Music Time, was on ABC then twice a week, and I was also doing an ABC radio program called Let's Have Music. So at least I knew people knew who I was. Now that's the first step.
But you were still teaching up until then?
Up to the end of '82, yes. I was in London in the late '70s doing Music Time.
Right.
For the BBC.
Why did you go to London? What was the...
Well, it came out because of a good friend of mine, a guy called Graham McCarthy. I was in Sydney for 18 months, and he just said to me one day, he said, Peter, why are you wasting your time Sydney? Just go to London. And his prophetic words were, look, if you go to London, whatever happens, you won't regret it. It was absolutely right. I've never, ever regretted it. The only thing I did slightly regret was maybe coming back too soon. But, you know, we can always...
But you might not have had...
Oh, no, she was always there. She was already
Oh, you were there then?
I'm
She
older than I
existed.
look.
Oh, okay.
I was around.
Very small.
We carted her and her sister over with us.
Did he work you into the act?
Not at that stage, no. That came a bit later.
Did you think everybody's dad was on television and famous?
I knew that they weren't, but it was so normal that I didn't think it was odd.
Yeah, I think
It
almost
was
every
just-
show business child of a show
Family.
business, thinks that everyone's in show business.
Yeah.
Didn't you threaten once to wear a sign saying my father's not Peter Combe? Was that someone else to
I
them?
probably did. Yeah. It wasn't cool for a while.
I don't like that.
No.
My niece's partner, his surname is Combe. I've told you this before, and he's always claimed that he's your nephew.
Maybe he is. What's his Christian name?
Well, I won't say that now,
No,
but,
okay.
but it's spelt the same. That just,
There's a
you
few
know.
of us around.
Yeah.
But
Few
no,
kids
but that's
around.
funny because people do hang on to, you know, people that are famous that they think might be in their family. I could be related to.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But you've had this huge influence prior to the Wiggles.
Yeah.
That really set up the fact that a single person could sing songs for kids. You and Patsy Biscoe, we were just saying before.
Yeah.
Patsy made many gold records from her recordings, and so have you.
Yeah.
How many? Are they all down the hall or
I've
something?
had 7 gold, 2 platinum, and I've had 1 gold video.
Okay.
So, I think the difference... Patsy, of course, specialised in singing traditional children's nursery rhymes.
Yeah.
She started that off, but she probably was the first famous children's singer in Australia, and I guess I was maybe the first famous person who actually wrote songs for children.
And
So
a funny song.
Like yeah,
just
And male too, I
extraordinary
guess,
song.
because it was very much a female market.
yes.
And the mums used to love you. I know that.
Did
for a
they?
fact. Yeah, they did. They did. And that helped, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, it was unusual. I mean, people simply weren't writing songs for children. I can remember thinking, you know, there were authors who wrote new books for children all the time, you know, hundreds and hundreds, but there was no such thing back in the late 70s as people who wrote songs for children. There probably were people doing it, but no one was famous.
No, and probably recording them to the same extent.
No,
that you were.
The only famous person really was Rolf Harris in the UK, but he's not quite flavour of the month at the moment. So, but he was very famous at doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, he was, but he was like everyone's older uncle.
That's right.
You
Yeah.
were more like the young dad image, I think.
That's probably true. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So, the
Now
orange
granddad.
juice.
No, granddad. Yeah.
Oh, granddad. Now I know with some lovely grandchildren. So, where did the orange juice song come from? Because I'm sure everyone wants to know.
Well, do you know that?
The reason I ask is because I'm wondering if she ever did.
No, she never has. But I should tell you, there's about 3 different guys, one in Adelaide, one in Melbourne, I think one in Sydney, who actually, in the middle of a concert, actually put a pizza on down the ground and belly flop into it. And one of them also did wash his face in orange juice during the song.
No.
But belly flopping into a pizza, because that's the big line in the song.
Yeah.
Belly flopping a pizza, belly flopping a pizza.
Yeah.
Well, 3 people have done that. Now, what was the question again?
What a waste of pizza!
I know, crazy.
Why would you
It's
do
lovely.
that? I know.
If you were to sum up your career as to this is what I always intended to do or not,
Yeah.
is it? Was it?
Well, yes. I mean, I think it was. I didn't answer your original question. So, how did I write "Wash Your Face"? No,
Oh, that was yes.
I got sidetracked, but
Put the chords down on paper.
Well, songwriting is a mysterious thing, and some songs I can remember exactly where I wrote it and why I wrote it. Spaghetti Bolognese, I know exactly where I was when I got that idea. It was at Scotch College in my second last year of teaching there, and I remember the spot where I saw these kids playing marbles, and that comes into the song. So that was a very direct link to the song. Wash Your Face in Orange Juice is quite mysterious to me. I don't know where I got the idea from. Likewise with Newspaper Mama, I don't know. So songs are like that. Sometimes you remember exactly what gave the idea, where you were. Other songs, they're just mysterious. And
Do you want to quote a few more of those song titles? Because as you're saying them,
I know,
I'm
they're coming
remembering
back.
the songs.
yeah. Well, Juicy Juicy Green Grass was actually going to be part of a play called The Colour Keeper, which I did at the Festival Centre in 1983. And I'm very pleased to say that the producer, whose name I won't mention, it was the one song I wrote for this play. I wrote about 9 new songs. It's the one song that she didn't like. And I knew it was the best song. I just knew it was the best song.
Yeah.
And that's become quite a hit.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel like saying,
Yeah, told you so.
oh yeah.
So did you think you'd start with Joni a dynasty of performers?
Well, not really, but my children are all musical. They are. I mean, Joni's musical. She's also got a lovely dramatic flair as well, hence theatre bugs. And Joni, when I've recorded over the years, if I've wanted someone to do a more theatrical singing thing, I'll get Joni. I'm gonna give you one. I'll give you one example. I've written a song called "The Hare and the Tortoise," and I sang the part of the tortoise, and Joni sang the part of the hare. Now I could have asked her sisters, Emily and Alice, to do it, but they would have sung it really well.
They're more the singers.
They're more the
I'm the character actress. I
But-
get to play the pigs and the hares.
Oh,
and
lucky you. Oh, no, you played like... We'll talk about that in a
But
tick.
she does sing well as well. She says she sort of puts that down a bit, but she actually does sing well.
I compare myself to the other two. who are very
But
good.
I'm lucky to have 4 very musical children, and I feel really very lucky to have
Never
them.
happened in my family. I'm a singer, and I've got 3 sons, but no.
Don't
See,
sing.
you should have started a TV show called My Three Sons. Oh, it's been done, sorry.
No.
So, Joni, bring you up to date with your dad now. So, you started off as a little one, obviously doing stuff with your dad. But then you went into The Fairies, which was a hugely successful television program.
Yeah, I did. So actually, it was like a dream come true, that whole fairies
be a fairy?
experience. Yeah, I was a real girly girl. as a little girl. Don't know if you remember, because there's so many of us. But loved fairies. I had books about fairies, drew fairies. And then at the age of 25, my dream came true and I got the part of Rhapsody. And we made 3 DVDs and I don't know how many live shows.
Lots
performed.
of TV shows.
Yeah.
But also, like me, and you worked with Humphrey for a while, didn't you?
Yeah,
of course we did the stage shows together.
We did.
But you worked with Humphrey as well, as we all did. Humphrey Bear,
yes.
sadly missing on Australian screens now.
I know, and I loved that experience too. It
was good, wasn't
working
it?
on that program. I mean, it was hard work, wasn't it?
3 shows a day we used to make in the old days, an hour at a time.
Yeah, and then when I was working on it, there was only one presenter, and so I had to do all the talking.
Yeah.
There was no one to bounce off. You know, Humphrey was there obviously with the.
But, going to a drama school, or I hate the word drama because acting is acting, not drama necessarily, but going to a school where you're taught. When we were on Humphrey, everything was improvised, basically. You had a basic script, but you had to make that come to life more than the writer had written for you, usually.
Oh, definitely.
So it was a great way to learn a craft and then be able to watch it back on the screen to say, oh, did I make that happen? Did you feel that with what you did? Did you watch yourself back to say, I can sing better, play better, look better?
Well, I did Humphrey too, but I never thought I was particularly good at Humphrey. It just didn't kind of work well. Joni was terrific at Humphrey. She was a natural. And for me, it didn't quite, I just didn't feel comfortable doing it. I did about probably 15 to 20 episodes. But I was never I was always comfortable with the singing bits. That was my comfort zone. But all the other stuff, that kind of improvising around with Humphrey, it just didn't work for me.
That you didn't get any sort of feedback from? The communication was just really...
I just don't think I was particularly good at it. And so I kind of got out of that fairly
You had
soon.
to believe, I suppose, didn't you? You had to believe.
Yeah, well, I always remember Robin Brunfeld, one of the producers, saying that you've got to imagine that camera is one child, and that one child,
always, yes.
Could be
in
a caravan or grandma's house, or don't make any assumptions where they are.
Exactly. And just speaking of that, we have to take a break. We're talking with Peter and Joni Combe. We just left off talking about you being a Humphrey presenter and a fairy. But after all of those things, you went into your own business.
I did. So I was, like Dad, I started off as a teacher working in a school. And I decided at some point that I wanted to branch out and run my own theatre group, my own school for performing arts. So I started Theatre Bugs, and that was back in '98. So 20 years ago.
Wow.
And started off with just a handful of kids at the Odeon Theatre in the rehearsal room there, just myself doing everything. And over time it's grown and grown and grown, and so now there's over 1,000 kids that come through every year.
From what age?
From babies.
Oh, really?
Babies right up to teenagers.
Big new market, isn't it?
So, but I've actually made the big decision earlier this year that I've actually sold the business to the general manager, Michael Eustace, who's fabulous. I think you know Michael.
Very well. Michael's a very good local producer as well.
Yeah.
Last week we had Matt Byrne on the show.
He's a good actor too.
Talking about what... Yes, he is. And the whole family are.
The Eustace family.
Another, it's another family.
Runs in families, Yeah, so he's taken on Theatre Bugs, looking after my first baby. But I'm still very much involved in terms of being the patron, and I'm training and assisting the teachers, and I think I'll always be a theatre bug, really.
It's very hard to leave those things, isn't it? For me,
is.
it's been 40 years. So
Yes.
how long for you?
20 years, yeah. It is very hard. But I knew that there were other things I wanted to do. I was a little bit restless and wanted to see what else was out there. So I've started a new business, as you do. And this one, it's not dissimilar in some ways. It's called Girl Power, and it's about raising self-esteem and building up confidence in young primary school girls. And I guess, one of the outcomes is confidence, which is very similar to Theatre Bugs, that was one of the driving forces for me with Theatre Bug was not just about the performance. Yes, that was great and fun, and kids love getting up on stage, but also just the self-esteem, the life skills, the character building, all of that.
And
Was
there's
so
a great
important.
concern with kids losing that now, isn't there?
yeah.
When you said about having 3 sons, I guess that probably didn't affect them in the same way as it often does with girls because of Facebook, and now boys in the same way.
Oh, well, when they were little, it was, the PlayStations were still around. So
Well,
you
now
still
there's all the
had
social
the
media, which is obviously
yeah,
a big
that's
concern.
true. But, I mean, didn't have any trouble getting their face out of that, whereas now, these days, children have got the iPhones from a very young age, and it's very...
They know how to use them better than us.
Yeah,
That's
the
true.
pain.
That's true.
Yeah.
Peter, your career then sort of went quiet for a while, and then it came back just almost as big as it was before. What happened in those years?
Well, it's all about not being on television. I mean, television still drives everything. So when I left the ABC in the early 90s, but 93 it was, suddenly I wasn't on TV. I didn't stop what I was doing.
No, you kept, of
but
course.
But people, they think, oh, have you retired? We thought you were dead. No, I'm just not on television.
Yeah.
Because
right.
there's very little television to be done. I mean, almost all television, as you know, is done in the eastern states. And even then, there's not an enormous number. I mean, there are very few variety shows. If you really have to be on the ABC if you want to do a kids' TV show, because they totally dominate children's
Well,
television.
they now have a designated channel.
That's right, an ABC Kids channel, yeah. So, I think I've learned to be fairly independent, and I don't mind that now. But what happened for me was about 13 years ago, I did this strange gig in Adelaide called Schützenfest, which is a German beer drinking festival, and basically it's a place where people come along and get drunk. That's what it boiled down to. And I went one day. It was about 41 degrees, and instead of performing to a few kids, there weren't many kids there anyway. And I kept wondering why am I there? There weren't many kids there. It's for adults. Anyway, rather than do this show to these kids who are going to be sitting out in the sun at 41 degrees, I thought, who wants to do that? I said, let's just do the show inside. I know that all the adults are there. So I did the show inside, and they simply literally stormed the stage. And it was quite confusing what was going on.
The kids have grown up.
Well, and that fast forwarding, that led on to me doing about 115 what I call 18 plus shows all around Australia, all the capital cities, Ballarat, Wollongong, everywhere. And you get these lovely bunch of kids young people between about sort of 25 to 35 now who come along to these evening shows and they sing Newspaper Mama.
Because they had,
all that stuff.
learned it all as a kid. Like
And they
my
bring their own
boys
props.
in the
It's
car.
hilarious.
Oh, really?
Yeah, big toothbrushes and newspaper hats.
Toffee apples.
Yeah, toffee apples.
And
Hilarious.
they're really quite gorgeous.
Yes.
I'm always very touched because they sing
Every
everything
word.
and they look up at you as if and some
Nostalgic,
of them,
isn't
it's
it?
quite
It is,
nostalgic.
yeah.
And some of them have said it's the happiest show I've ever been to. I always think it's like a religious event, but without the religion.
You've got your own cult.
Like a cult.
Yeah,
No, but it's true. It's true. Those childhood memories are really with us forever. What we learnt when we were kids.
Yeah.
That's why the schools are so relevant. Because of that social interaction that the kids have. I know with us, kids are still friends. 40
Absolutely,
years
those
after the event. sort of
bonding
thing,
experiences
It's great.
like theatre.
And also, I think you find people that are like you. If you're interested in being a performer or have that dream that you want to be a performer, not everybody gets that.
No.
And even talking to you now, there's people watching, I'm sure, who, of course, know who you are and will connect with all of those songs, and that will instantly take them back to when they were a child.
That's
and those wonderful.
That's what
memories.
happens with these shows. Well, after all these years, what happens? You get say 300 people, roughly between early 20s to mid 30s. And they come along. If they haven't been to a show before, I don't think they quite know what to expect. Am I going to be risque and sort of use a whole lot of swear words, which I don't, which wouldn't come naturally to me anyway. But what happens is they don't know what's going to happen. And what does happen, they suddenly realise they know all the songs. And the reason why they know all the songs is because when young children love a song, they don't play it 5 times, they hear it 100 times.
Absolutely.
So 20 years later,
Yep,
the song's
on a
just
loop.
there.
Yeah.
It's drilled into
Absolutely.
their brain, so they suddenly think, I still know this song. And so it's a lovely moment. It's
Isn't
quite
that a
lovely.
lovely
it would
moment?
be.
What a
Very
lovely
special.
compliment.
Yeah, absolutely.
My daughter, my 4-year-old, listens to all his music as she goes to sleep every night. Yeah, so she's got it all ingrained in her head.
So, you know, this question has come up a lot in my life with parents saying, oh, with young performers or young kids that can perform. Oh, it must be because, you know, great uncle Mary played the violin with his feet. You say, and what?
It's interesting.
So the fact that both of you, well, I know it's that obscure,
Yeah,
but with you being a performer and you also being a performer, have your kids become performers?
My kids do like performing and they are involved in theatre. At the moment, I wouldn't say it's their driving passion, like I see in some other kids. They've got a lot of interest. I mean, I've got a 12-year-old boy, so at the moment he's all about footy, so, which I find very hard to connect with sometimes. And my daughter's very interested in nutrition and health. So, you know, but they're involved with theatre.
Because it's part of their life.
And they're good
It
at
is.
they're good at music too.
Yeah.
All our grandchildren can sing well, and I've used 5 of them.
They've
now
all been on his albums and in his concerts, and
not-
of course,
not-
I mean,
not because
Cheap labour.
I think people think I'm just being cute or cheap, but I wouldn't use them if they couldn't do it.
of course not.
They can do it.
No, but your reputation's on the line as well. You can't afford to do that.
It's the same. Let's see, my own children. See, Joni, Alice, Emily, and Tom are all on the albums because they could do it. They were good at it.
Yeah.
They could sing well.
sometimes
Otherwise,
we
they
were
wouldn't have
bribed
been
with a
there.
Mars bar or something, so you know, that always helps.
Do you feel you've started a Von Trapp family?
Well, yeah. Well, actually, we have done a show. We did a show in Sydney at the Seymour Centre back in 1996, where Joni, Alice, Emily, and Tom were all in the show. It was a sort of a season of about 4 or 5 shows. So we were then a kind of a temporarily.
There
a
were a
Von
few
Trapp.
jokes going around.
Yeah, and
like
they've also been in my videos. A video,
Yeah.
Little Groover, where Joni, Alice, and Emily are all in most songs, and Tom's doing this pseudo playing on the drums. So he's in it too.
That's cute. We can't let you go without singing something.
I can probably manage
So,
that. Yeah.
so while we take a quick commercial break, we'll stick that guitar
Get
on
the
you
guitar on.
and just give a nice memory of. No, stay there. Nice memory of Peter Combe.
Okay.
Can you harmonise?
Oh God, depends what song he's doing.
Okay, we'll work that out in the break. We'll see you in a moment.
Have a song. Are we going to have a song?
We are, and
Pete's
welcome
got-
back because this is Peter and Joni Combe, and what are we singing, Pete?
Let's do Newspaper Mama, the analog version. There isn't a digital version.
Okay.
2, 3, 4. What's black
What's black
and what's white
and what's white?
and red all over
Red all over
every day?
every day.
It's the newspaper mama, newspaper mama, newspaper mama every day. What's thrown
What's thrown
over the fence
over the fence
and into the garden
into the garden
every day?
every day?
It's the newspaper mama, newspaper mama, newspaper mama every day. Read it over breakfast every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, especially on Sunday. Best day of all. What's black
What's black?
and what's white
What's white?
and red all over
Red all over
every day?
every day.
It's the newspaper mama, newspaper mama, newspaper mama every day. Now what do you get?
Now what do you get
When you open the door
when you open the door
every morning?
every morning?
of every day.
Of every day.
You get the newspaper, mama, newspaper, mama, newspaper, mama, every day. You get the newspaper, mama, newspaper, mama, newspaper, mama, every day. Usually at the end of that, there's 2, 3, 4, and you go into a wild guitar lead.
Fantastic.
Thunder's clapping for our audience of 4. It's very nice. That's great. Do you know, I've never heard that song all the way through. I've heard the title, it's been in the background, and it's just really interesting to hear the whole thing.
It's an experience.
It is, only it's not my key. I'm sorry, I couldn't sing the last bit.
It's not really my key either.
Actually, I'll tell you a funny story, not about that one, about spaghetti bolognese. My brother-in-law told me he's an epidemiologist.
Of course he is.
He's a runner.
Oh, yeah.
We have a million doctors in our family. Anyway, he was running in Perth, and he came across these about 50 guys outside in Perth, a park in Perth, and they were doing aerobics. There's amazing aerobics. Do you know what they're doing aerobics to? Spaghetti bolognese.
Yes, there you go.
These guys.
bizarre.
These guys.
All these fit guys.
Hey, listen, we're going to have to get you to sing a bit of that because we're going to have to say goodbye. But over the credits, hang on, over the credits, don't get excited. Over the credits, we've got to go out with that. Joni, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great success with your new venture. I hope that really goes
Thanks,
well.
Malcolm.
And also for you. And what do you want to be when you grow up?
Grow up.
I think I might like to write children's songs. That'd be a good idea, wouldn't it?
What a good idea. Janice, have you been
Yes.
fabulous?
Oh, absolutely,
Okay.
always.
And so were you. Thanks for joining us and watching our show. We'll keep yourself nice till then. Here's Pete.
Like the yo-yo craze, unlike the marble phase, I love it every day. Spaghetti bolognese, unlike a hopscotch craze, unlike the macaron phase, I love it every day. Spaghetti bolognese, I love it every day. Spaghetti bolognese, chicken and coleslaw 3 times a week. Salad and pizza, good for a treat. But as I have the pick of the menu, I choose the same thing every day. 'Cause unlike a yo-yo craze, unlike a marble face, I love it every day. Spaghetti bolognese, unlike a hopscotch craze, unlike a macaron face, I love it every day. Spaghetti bolognese, I love it every day. Spaghetti key change, unlike a yo-yo craze, unlike a marble face, I love it every day. Spaghetti bolognese, unlike a hopscotch.